Hi, this is Craig Seaman of the Media Committee, the Green Party of the United States Media Committee, and this is the Green Wave Telethon. Tonight we will feature several local candidates and significant people to the Green Party, people who have run before, who may run again, or who are organizers, key party organizers, fundraisers, etc. But most important is our featured candidates. Oftentimes people ask, well, how come we only hear about the Greens every 4 years? Well, actually, every year, and especially every other year when there are municipal elections, there are hundreds of Greens who run for local offices around the country. So we're there. We're not there in every community yet because we're still a growing party, but this is your chance to see what local Green candidates look like around the country. Joining me tonight is Aaron Fox of the Coordinated Campaign Committee, and he'll explain to you a little bit about what that's about and his role in tonight's stream. And go ahead, Aaron.
Hey, thanks a lot, Craig. I'm Aaron Fox. I'm co-chair of the Coordinated Campaign Committee of the Green Party of the United States. And our committee provides a range of resources for the Green Party, including direct financial support to candidates. And we do that by donations to the Coordinated Campaign Committee's Candidate Fund. And so we're really excited. It's a beautiful October evening. We've got a lot of great candidates to speak with here tonight on the program from all across the nation. So we want you to know, folks, that Green Party candidates originated the Green New Deal. We are the real Green New Deal, and we want a Green New Deal at every level of government, from the federal government all the way down to the municipal level. So I'm really excited to be here tonight with my co-host Craig Seaman, and lots of great guests coming up. The CCC, we provide a lot of different resources to candidates, including candidate training. CCC members perform in-state candidate trainings. We do monthly webinars to help candidates get engaged. And if you're interested in becoming a Green Party candidate, you can email us at ccc@gp.org. So we'd like to get on with the program tonight. We've got a lot of great stuff for you. The first video that we've got here, a little bit of setup on it. We've got the amazing Danielle Swift from Minnesota. She is running to be on the city council in St. Paul, Minnesota. She's doing some wonderful things in her community. So we're going to go ahead and roll this first clip and get to know Danielle. And then we're going to come back and hear from Green Party of the United States Steering Committee member Trey Cruz, who is going to give us a little bit of an update on Danielle's campaign and what's going on with the steering committee. Keep tuned for more Green Wave Telethon.
I'm Aiden, and this is Hope News.
My name is Danielle Swift, and I am a community organizer at the Frogtown Neighborhood Association. A community organizer is someone who helps connect neighbors to each other to make changes that they want to see in their neighborhood. So I'm just a connector, someone who helps people communicate with each other. Gentrification is something that happens when new things come to a neighborhood, new buildings, new parks, new stadiums. Like we got the new soccer stadium. You guys know what I'm talking about? Yeah. So when we get new things and then suddenly the people who live in the neighborhood cannot stay if it's too expensive or they can't find a place because now the neighborhood is highly sought after. Lots of people want to live here, making it hard to find a place to live. Young people usually live with their families, right? So when we go through gentrification or displacement in neighborhoods, whole families go through them, right? It's not just grown-ups, it's not just our parents, but whole families do. And I think one of the big things for kids is if you move, a lot of times you have to switch schools. And I think that moving away from your friends or having to get a new teacher in the middle of the year or having several teachers while you're in elementary school affects your education. And just also affects stress levels. And I think it's, hard to think of being a kid and being stressed out, but it definitely happens. But then also participating in local level politics. getting involved in your neighborhood organizations like the Frogtown Neighborhood Association where I work at, but then also learning who your city council members are and your state legislators as well. If you want to find out who your representatives are, you can Google pretty much anything and find it. But they really should be coming to find us too, right? I am running for St. Paul City Council in Ward 6, which is the east side of St. Paul. I think that it's important to stand up and voice your opinion. If you see something that needs to be done a little bit differently, and you know that you can do it, it's important to stand up and do that. And I'd like to see a difference. I'd like to see some change happen. I'd like to see people live a little bit more comfortably and be healthy and happy. So that's why I'm running. I think a lot of people have that intention. Relationships are one of the most important things that you can have as a community organizer and as a community member. So I think for neighbors, it could be beneficial to talk to people on both sides of you, people across the street from you, to know about them and to learn about things that they're going through. That's probably one of the best things that we can do as neighbors to help one another.
Today I'm going to be showing you how to draw character joints and how they're going to be moving. So what you're going to do first is you're going to draw an oval. Then you're going to draw a circle under that. So then what you're going to do is now you're going to add all the lines to your joints. So first you do the dots and then you do the lines. Then you can add your accessories to your characters. So erase the lines.
The weather today rained and right now it's hot. As you can see, it's starting to get clearer because the clouds are really, really dark if you look up.
And now the best thing that happened this week.
My name is Whitney, and the best thing that happened to me this week is when I went to Chicago on Wednesday and I saw my family and we went to Sky Zone.
My mom took me to the ice cream truck.
I'm going to the state fair.
The last day of Cub Scouting.
I'm going roller coaster with my cousins.
I'm playing at the park.
I went on a vacation.
Playing with my cousins.
I'm playing hide and go seek in the dark and playing a scary game.
Thank you for watching Hope News.
Bye.
Hello, and thanks for tuning in. We're back with more Green Wave Telethon. I'm your host, Aaron Fox. I'm here with my co-host, Craig Seaman, and we invite you to like and share this video. Make sure that this video gets out all around Facebook and social media. Let everybody know that we are having a great celebration of our candidates from around the country tonight. And please go to www.gp.org/give now and donate for Green Party candidates all across the country today. I'm here with our first guest. He's the chair of the Minnesota Green Party, a member of the Green Party United Steering Committee, and he's a major advocate for reparations. He's currently the chair of the Green Party United States Reparations Working Group. Please welcome Mr. Trey Cruz to the show.
Thank you, Aaron. Honored to be here.
Thanks so much for being here tonight, Trey. Trey, what's the most important reason that folks should register and join for the Green Party today?
The Green Party is the only party we're against PAC money. We support full and complete reparations. Reparations is part of the Green Party's platform, actually. So while the Democrats are still talking about it, debating about it, the Green Party has already decided to support full and complete reparations for the American descendants of slavery. We have a strong social justice policy. We have a strong environmental policy. Matter of fact, the Green New Deal that you hear the Democrats talk about all the time started with the Green Party. So if you care about the environment, if you care about social justice, if you care about economic justice, environmental justice, you should sign up and join the Green Party and run as a Green if you're interested in running for office.
Great, that's great. Absolutely, the real Green New Deal is here with the Green Party. Trey, is the steering committee working on specific strategies for growth? What kind of initiatives can we expect to see the Green Party grow as we move into the 2020 election cycle?
Well, some of the initiatives that we're working on, we have a great debate series coming from the Green Party Black Caucus so that we can get the Green Party message out to communities of colors and other marginalized groups. We're going to have our media committee is beefing up our newsletters, beefing up the green pages. We're going to be doing a lot of outreach through the outreach committee. So we're going to be boots on the ground from now until election day in 2020.
It's great to hear it, Trey. Trey, tell us a little bit about the organizing work that you've been doing in Minnesota. How can Greens organize their own states and communities to help grow the party?
Well, it's good to join the Green Party and run as a Green. If you want it, in a lot of states, especially like here in Minnesota, we're in St. Paul and Minneapolis. These are considered one-party towns. So what that allows the Democrats to do, they don't really have to speak to the issues that are really of concern to their base. So back in 2013, 2014, when I joined the Green Party, the Democrats were really kind of like what we would say like blue dog conservatives here in Minnesota. But then we started pushing them on issues about reparations. We started pushing them on issues about police brutality. We started pushing them about issues about housing, education reform. And now you're seeing $15 an hour started with here in Minnesota. The first candidate I seen run on a $15 minimum wage increase was Lena Buggs, who was endorsed by the Green Party of the 4th Congressional District. Now, 4 years later, the minimum wage has been increased to $15 an hour here in St. Paul and also in Minneapolis. So sometimes we might not win elections, but our policies get adopted and put into the law, just like you see with the Green New Deal, free education, free college. A lot of that stuff is coming from the not the Minnesota Green Party, but from the Green Party of the United States. And then we're able locally to run candidates who believe in these issues. And if you're able to make your campaign big enough, you can either win or have your policies adopted.
That's great, Trey. Trey, I know that you work really hard to help build the Green Party. And what is it that inspires you about the party to get up and work so hard on a daily basis every day to help make this party grow and become a viable vehicle for folks who want to see changes in our government, who want to see changes in policy and, the way that we're doing things?
Well, I really don't like to see good people get lied to by the status quo. So people have been going out for years, and they believe in the Democrat Party or the Republican parties when these two corporate parties really don't have the people's interests at heart. It's my belief that the Green Party really cares about people over profits. So those are some of the things that drive me. And I seen, like I just previously said, I seen it work. I seen the Green Party force the Democrats to have to really come and address the people that they say that they care about when before they haven't done it. So if we can continue to make them do that, it affect the Democrats, and it also affects the Republicans. And so the Republicans have to start talking about criminal justice reform. The Republicans are even talking about climate change. And that's all because the Green Party is putting the pressure on the status quo this way.
Absolutely. We need to keep that pressure up. And thanks to hardworking Greens like you, that's happening all across the country. You are on the steering committee now. You've got a little bit broader perspective on what's happening with the Green Party across the country. Who are some up and coming Green candidates that folks need to know about?
We got Craig Nataliano, Daniel Swift here in St. Paul. She's running on a platform she's for economic development, but she's not about just gentrifying neighborhoods. She also wants to build up the people instead of just building structures. So here in St. Paul, our population is growing, but we have fewer jobs today than we did in the year 2000. We're seeing that like tax incremental TIF is tax incremental financing, which is used to finance stadiums and things like that. But we want to see that money be used to finance the people and to bail the people out. We also have Monica James down in Indiana. There's a whole host of candidates around the country that are taking that big step and running with the Independent Green Party.
So, and you mentioned one of your candidates from Minnesota. We just watched a great clip from her, Danielle Swift, and she's running for city council in St. Paul. Tell us a little bit more about Danielle. She's just an amazing rising star in the Green Party, and she's so active in her community. She's really an inspiration. Tell us a little bit more about Danielle and her campaign.
Well, right now, Danielle, she's doing great work around housing. She's working with, I think it's called EIP, Equity in Place, and they do a lot of work around transportation and housing, and they want to make sure that people aren't being pushed out of their community for big development. She's also doing work around police accountability, where we feel like if you work for the police department in the city of St. Paul, you should also live in the city of St. Paul. We want police to carry insurance like doctors carry insurance. They don't want bad drivers on the road. We don't want bad cops on the police. We don't want bad cops on the police force. So those are some of the initiatives that she's working on. She's working on environmental justice. The ward she lives in is Ward 6. So we want to make sure there's not a lot of asbestos and things like that in some of the housing, because the east side has some of the oldest housing stock in the state of Minnesota. We want to make sure that the water's clean on the east side and things like that, and that people don't have to travel 2 hours to get to, that people who have transportation issues don't have to travel where they live at. So we want to attract more green jobs to the city of St. Paul in Ward 6, but in particular. We also have another candidate who will be challenging an incumbent who has been in office for like 30 years and who has been part of creating the disparities here in Minnesota, the disparities around criminal justice. Minnesota has the worst disparities when it comes to criminal. It's a great place to live. However, we have the biggest disparities in the education gap is right here in Minnesota. The health gap is right here in Minnesota. The housing gap, we have the biggest disparities. And it's our belief that some of our Democrat counterparts that have been in office for 25, 30 years, victim of gun violence here in St. Paul. So she's an anti-gun violence advocate, and she'll be running on that type of platform.
It's really fantastic. It sounds like Danielle's a great candidate. Trey, these campaigns are marketing campaigns. Essentially, that's what a political campaign is. You're trying to get the word out to people to let them know who the best candidate is. And it sounds like we got a great candidate in Minnesota in Danielle. Why should Greens donate, their money to support these types of local campaigns? Why is it important that individuals help fund these candidates?
Well, because we're a grassroots. These are all grassroots campaigns that really care about the people, and we're not trying to. We don't it's important that we're able to have the resources that we need to challenge the status quo here on the ground. So we need literature. We're going to need ads, and we're going to need people to help with door knocking and phone banking and all of that. You know, we want to get big money out of politics, but to do all of that, you need resources to challenge the status quo. I believe some of the people we're running against raise over close to $100,000 in a city council race, you know, and but they're not talking about policies that are really going to build up the east side of St. Paul. It's going to be more gentrification and more pushing people out instead of building up the people and making sure they have the skills and the goods and the services that they need to be successful in the city of St. Paul. So that's why it's important to donate to these candidates.
Fantastic. Trey, 2 minutes. What would you like to let the voters out there in Minnesota know about the Green Party?
If you believe that in Hastings, Minnesota, when you turn on your water faucet, that the water shouldn't come out brown, you should join the Minnesota Green Party. If you live in northern Minnesota, if you think Governor Tim Walz is wrong about mining and that he's okay with letting, that he's okay with sulfide mining and he's okay with polluting the water in northern Minnesota, join the Green Party. If you care about police accountability, join the Minnesota Green Party. If you care about raising the minimum wage to a cost of living wage of $15 an hour, join the Minnesota Green Party. If you care about housing and education, real education reform, join the Minnesota Green Party and help us challenge the status quo and continue to challenge the status quo so they really have to work to implement policies about the people that they say that they care about. The Minnesota Green Party and the Green Party of the United States takes a bottom up approach, and we need your help to help us do that.
Trey, thank you so much for being on the program tonight. I really admire all of the activist work that you've been doing in Minnesota. You're doing a really great job there. Keep the good spirits, keep building the Green Party, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks so much for being on the program. Folks, you can go to www.gp.org/give now and donate to Green Party candidates right now. We'll be right back with more Green Wave Telethon after this clip.
Hi, my name is Carol Sandy Prisblack, and I'm running for Cheektowaga Town Council. For the second time, I ran also in 2017. I belong to all three community associations and the Historical Association in Cheektowaga, and believe I have a good idea of what concerns of Cheektowaga residents are. I would like to see equal representation on the board in Cheektowaga. Currently, only one of the 7 board members resides on the entire west side of Cheektowaga. And I would be a second person from that area to represent you. I want to work on bringing the Green New Deal to Cheektowaga and green energy incentives to Cheektowaga residents. And I'm going to have some help with that with my fellow Green, Michael Raleigh, who is also a co-owner of Urban Farm Co-op. And we would like to bring some urban farms to Cheektowaga as well. We'd like to make Cheektowaga a greener, more eco-friendly place.
Hi everyone, my name is Craig Cayetano. I'm one of the co-chairs for the Green Party of New Jersey. Just coming to you now just to talk about joining the party and wishing for you to consider donating to us at gp.org/donate. Thanks very much.
Candidate for re-election for the Youngstown, Ohio Board of Education. And that's what I want to talk to you about right now, about the real world issues on the ground that students and families in Youngstown, Ohio and cities like it are facing. I became a member of the Youngstown Board of Education because I saw all of the issues in our community around us. In addition to the blight and the crime, we had classrooms that did not have textbooks. We had students that were failing, trapped in a system that just wasn't providing the kind of upliftment that we needed for our community. And the answer given to that by the state was to create this state takeover that was just a form of backdoor privatization. We had a number of contractors come in to make money off of the failure of our children. I had had enough. We as a community had had enough. And that's why I joined the board, and I've been fighting that ever since. I've been fighting privatization. I have been fighting this backdoor effort to monetize the suffering of our children. I've been fighting this school-to-prison pipeline, which takes our children monetized in our school system off to private prisons where they are once again monetized and abused. The new plantation system, we call it, the mass incarceration system. I've been fighting for the upliftment of an entire community, and I haven't been doing it alone. I have wonderful colleagues on the Board of Education and many active leaders in our community who understand this cause for what it is. It is the cause for the future, the upliftment of the future of the generations of this city of Youngstown that are going to move what many have called a dying city forward into a bright future. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the fact that a number of community causes connect with the activism I've engaged in education. I've been a very active supporter as a public official in Youngstown of efforts against fracking, because we have to create a clean environment, air, water, and soil for the sake of those future generations as well. And so this choice to run for re-election, I don't take lightly, because Board of Education in Youngstown, it has been quite a job considering all of the contention and all the difficulties in dealing with this state takeover. It's a challenge I readily take on, and I do so because that challenge means so much to the community that I serve. I'm proud to be a Green, and I'm proud that I belong to a party that is independent of all of those interests that are attempting to make money off of our children. And that means that I'm able to advocate for their best interests and for an education system that will prepare them to be actively, civically engaged in the democratic revival of our city, our valley, and hopefully our entire country. So in this election, I hope that you choose Dario Hunter for the Youngstown Board of Education. But more than that, I hope that you choose in every office candidates that represent your best interests, and I hope you consider the Green Party, because we're the only ones who can really do that.
Hi, we're back with more Green Wave Telethon. I'm your host, Aaron Fox, and we are here with Dave Sutliff-Adius. Dave is an educator who is running for New York, Rochester, New York City Council. Dave, it's great to have you on the program. Thanks for being here.
Aaron, thank you. I'm really thrilled to be on the Telethon this year.
Dave, you're out there earning votes in the community as an activist. You've been doing it for decades. Why is community involvement so critical to a green future?
Well, as the previous interviewee said, the Greens come from the ground bottom up, and that work literally has to be door to door, out in the streets, talking to people, slick ads and stuff where people are just throwing money into campaigns. It's not resonating anymore. And the only way we're going to get real change and real revolution is to be out there talking to people one-on-one.
Absolutely. Dave, what is it that makes it so great to live in Rochester, New York? I know that when folks, when they feel compelled to run for public office, they care so much about their community that they want to serve the people of the community. What are the things that you love about living in Rochester?
Yeah, I was born and raised here and grew up and actually I've lived in just about every part of the city at some point in my life. And the diversity that's here, we are really segregated, unfortunately, but just within the entire city itself, there's a lot of diversity, but in like every demographic you can think of, in age, in ethnicity, even just in interests. And being here, you get to experience folks from all over the country who actually come and live here, as well as native Rochesterians. There's a great history with this town in terms of the growth of the country and the Erie Canal, and how New York kind of fostered a lot of economic growth within the country, both good and bad. And it's really just an amazing place to be. And I'll be honest with you, Four Seasons is pretty cool. If you get bored, like just having one type of weather all the time, then yeah, you don't like Rochester.
It's fantastic. And you know what, folks? We just had a $100 donation. Just now, I just got a report from our fundraising director, Starling Rankin. Thank you so much. Folks, we're really excited that everybody's joining us tonight for this special event. And thank you for supporting the Green Party. Dave, back to you. Who are some of the people who really inspired you to become active politically? And why did they have such an impact on your political conscience?
Well, I found out about the Green Party during Ralph Nader's first run for president. I was in my first teaching job, and we were doing a project on the presidential election at the time, and one of my students was doing research on the Green Party's candidate. I had never heard of the Green Party, and Ralph Nader to me was some guy who hosted Saturday Night Live in the 70s. I really never knew any of Ralph's background. And as I'm reading over my student's shoulder, and this was like back in the days of AOL dial-up, this was the internet we were using, I'm like agreeing with everything that I'm reading. And as soon as all the kids left, I actually got online and found an email address and just said, hey, I live in Rochester and I just found out about the Green Party. Do you know if there's anybody in the city that's doing anything with the Greens? And within a week, I'm finding myself in the basement of a church plotting how we're going to be hanging banners on overpasses for Ralph's campaign, and just dove headfirst into it.
It's fantastic. Well, that brings back memories of me as a child. I remember watching the Ralph Nader program right before Bowling for Dollars. My grandpa would watch Nader and then watch Bowling for Dollars. And you know, Ralph was so engaging and so exciting. I remember he had the program and he said, if they put the black marker over the price, you need to peel that back and ask for that price under it. And he was just such a great consumer advocate and great candidate and leader for the Green Party. Dave, folks around the country are familiar that housing issues are front and center in New York. Capitalism is causing gentrification in our communities, and people can no longer afford to live in the communities they help to build. Let's talk a little bit about the ETPA. That's the Emergency Tenant Protection Act. It was passed by the New York legislature in 1974. Dave, how are you planning to use the provisions of the ETPA at the municipal level to strengthen protection for tenants in Rochester?
Yeah, Aaron. So here's the thing. With the changes in housing laws that's happened statewide, municipalities can opt into the EPTA, but it's not like just set in stone that automatically every city or every town is going to be in it. So I've already started to be involved with a group of activists who are not necessarily green yet anyway, but who are working and starting to organize to get our local city council to sign on to the EPTA and get the mayor to do it as well. And when I get elected in November, they'll already have one person on city council who will sign on to that. And I'll still be organizing even from my seat in city council to get this thing through.
It's great, Dave, and that's fantastic that you're looking out for tenants' rights. You know, Dave, there's been a great deal of interest, regarding municipal races in New York. How can we mobilize people to get serious about taking action at the local level and get them just as excited about these local races that affect their lives so much as they do about the presidential campaigns?
Well, look, here's something that I've been finding out in my race and on other local races that I've run, that I've been a campaign manager for, that you can talk to activists and like the more radical folks as a green and say, hey, support us, and usually that they will. But to get more voters who don't usually think about third parties or the Greens specifically, you need to get folks who are already within those circles to start talking about our campaigns. So it's not necessarily talking about turning Democrats into Greens. It's more about finding Democrats who support an individual candidate, such as myself, and having them talk to other Democrats. Finding a Republican who actually likes the things that you're talking about and having them talk to Republicans. That's trying to get votes. And it's a different strategy in terms of trying to get people to come in and register green, whether they're not registered yet, or they're registered in another party. To me, it's two different strategies. So if you're running a campaign or you're running for office, what you're doing is you're trying to get those votes to put you over the top. You're trying to find people who are registered in other parties, who are registered as independents, to talk to other people who are not Greens to get them to consider you. And once people start hearing our ideas, the first interview, I already stole an idea that I'm going to put into my platform just from listening to another Green. So it just, when people hear what we have to say, a lot of times that message needs to come from someone that's within their own circles. And it's finding those allies who'll be willing to help out that I think is going to get more people elected locally.
That's a great answer. Relational organizing is the key, for our success in our campaigns, and we can spread the word and work through other people. And it's important, as a Green, not as many folks know about us, so we need to be talking to new people every day. We need to be really getting out there into the public. Forget about what's going on in Washington, D.C., and get out there locally and let people know about the Green Party and our platform and our great candidates like yourself. Dave, accountability for law enforcement is an issue that is really huge in a lot of municipalities right now. And, you've got a really strong position in favor of a police accountability board in Rochester. And I'd like for you to take a moment to tell us why you think that's important.
Sure. Well, the local Green Party has been part of a 50 organization coalition here called the Police Accountability Board Alliance. And we've been working for a couple years now to get a citizen-run, totally independent, subpoena-powered police accountability board in Rochester. We need it desperately here. Almost every week there's another video clip of police acting inappropriately in Rochester. And we have it to the point now where there's a referendum on the local ballot. So I've actually been, along with campaigning for myself, using my campaign as well, not only to get a seat on city council, but to publicize this referendum to enact this police accountability board in Rochester. Now, the police union, of course, is suing, and this is going to be tied up in courts for a while, but this is just the process we need to get through. And if this does go through, it is going to be one of the most comprehensive police accountability boards in the country. In fact, our alliance has already gotten calls from other groups around the country just to get a hold of our language and get advice from us. And we don't even have it enacted yet. This is going to be a beacon for other municipalities to get their own PAB enacted. And I'm really excited about it. I'm hoping that both I can get on city council to help foster this a little bit more, as well as getting this referendum passed in November.
It's great. What great work you're doing, and what a great example of coalition building you're engaging in by working with other groups to develop a police accountability board. Dave, my next question for you is real personal to me, because it's an issue that I feel very strongly about. And I know that you're a teacher for students with disabilities, and disability rights are really go by the wayside in the United States. They're not at the forefront of our political discussion. What is it that we can do to better educate, voters and the general public about the need to take action on disability rights issues?
Well, I do generally like the National Party's platform on disability issues. It could be a little bit stronger here and there, but I do like it. It's definitely far and above any other national political parties in the country, that's for sure. And there are a number of Greens who are involved in a national organization called National Adapt, ADAPT. And if you get a chance to check them out online, and they do everything from just plain old ordinary email campaigns and lobbying to actual civil disobedience. And I've been arrested with a number of my brothers and sisters on disability rights issues in different cities all over the country. And what people need to know is the same rights and the same amount of dignity that able-bodied people take for granted, people with disabilities deserve as well. And folks with disabilities just want the exact same things that the rest of us want. We want a place to live. We want to be able to live our lives and not be trapped and not be stuck in institutions and be able to have some control over our lives. And if there's any kind of legislation or policy or anything that, or infrastructure, literally like infrastructure, like solid concrete kind of thing that prevents that from happening, provides a barrier, then it needs to be dealt with immediately. It's a human right issue.
Absolutely, it is an issue of human rights. I'd like to talk about something kind of cool here for a second. You were a co-founder of Rochester Free Radio, so tell us about how you were able to provide that service to your community and bring the voice of the people to residents in Rochester.
I did. There's a few years back, the FCC opened up the bandwidth for low-powered FM radio stations. There's rumors that it might get opened up again, especially with a lot more things going digital and there's a lot more of the bandwidth is being available for stuff like this. And if it does, I highly suggest. It's a lot of work, and you have to getting all the paperwork and having the resources and what you need to do to have the ability to be able to get the license to get it started and to have the equipment that keeps a radio station going and literally the nuts and bolts that hold an antenna to a building. It is a lot of work, and it did take us years. I would suggest this, though, with any big project like this that you do, that you want to go in perpetuity. This radio station, in theory, should be going forever, as well as the other low-powered FM stations. And that is, make sure that everybody who's on board on the ground floor of this, who's in the steering committee and the board of directors, because I assume you'll be a 501c3, make sure you're all kind of like-minded, and make sure you all, from the beginning, have the same goals in mind. And to do that, so if you're going to start a station that's going to promote progressive and maybe even radical ideas, make sure you're all on board. So that way, once your station gets going, or even if it's an internet radio station or any kind of media, social media, anything like that, so that way you can keep going in a relatively smooth fashion, rather than finding out once you're up and running, oh, hey, we all wanted this to go in a different way. That's one thing that I learned.
What a great program, and what a cool service. Dave, why the Green Party and why now?
Well, okay, I'm stealing this, but I can't help it. It's just like the best way to describe it is this is what Rosa Clemente said years ago, that we're no longer the alternative, we are the imperative. And you can see the direction that things are going. We cannot rely on the corporate parties to work for us, to protect us, and to do what we ask them and we demand for them to do. I only see the Green Party as right now as a national party that has the people's interests in mind, that has the health of our environment, of the earth in mind. And it's literally, the streets are on fire in some places. And if people don't start getting on board, I don't know if it is reversible, but we need to start doing things differently to be able to just survive. And I see the Green Party as being the one political entity that actually has a plan to actually make that happen.
That's right. The Green Party is on the cutting edge of politics right now. Yeah. Dave, I'd like to thank you for being here and for being such a great guest. Could you tell our viewers, how they can find out a little bit more about your campaign?
Oh, sure. Everything, my website and all my social media handles are pretty simple. It's Dave for Change. So daveforchange.org. Facebook page is Dave for Change. Twitter, Instagram is all the same handle, Dave for Change. And one of the things I really encourage people, you don't have to be from Rochester. If you read my platform and some of the stuff I'm trying to do, if you see some gaps or some holes or something that can be better, please let me know. Most of the stuff that I have up there, I am not the smartest man in the world, and I have taken ideas from some of the smartest people around. And while I've adopted them to Rochester's needs, that's something I'm going to keep doing when I'm in office. So please check out daveforchange.org. Give me some feedback on the stuff that I'm trying to do, and we can talk about it some more. Thanks. Thank you, Larry.
Thanks so much for being here, Dave. I'd like to remind our viewers, thank you for being here, and please donate to Green Candidates. The address is www.gp.org give now. Thanks for being here, Dave. We'll be right back after this.
Hello, my name is Madeline Hoffman. I'm running for U.S. Senate in New Jersey with the Green Party of New Jersey. And I am here to talk to you today about how we gain political power as an alternative to the Democrats and Republicans, the two major political parties that haven't done what's needed to be done to solve many of this country's and the world's major problems. In fact, we've contributed to those problems. So one way to measure political power is by our membership, the number of people who have joined to help fight climate change, to help stop the endless wars, and to push for single-payer health care for all, improved Medicare for all. And you can do that, you can help by joining the Green Party today. You can become a member at gp.org. You can, and then find where it says, I will join today. The more membership we have, the stronger we are, the more seriously we're taken by the powers that be. And they already take us seriously. We need to give them even more reason to be afraid of a growing green movement, both here and internationally.
Reporting from Salem, Massachusetts. We really appreciate you supporting the Green Party and democracy. If you really could, we'd appreciate your financial support because freedom is not cheap. Go to www.gp.org/donate and give what you can.
Hi, I'm David Rold, and I'd like to invite you all to join the Green Party. You can find us online at www.gp.org.
The Green Party is out here trying to deal with some life or death issues we're facing. Climate holocaust, inequality. Inequality kills. Poor people living 20 years less than more affluent people. And we got a nuclear arms race going on. And the major parties are not solving these problems. And the best way people can get involved in solving these problems is to become members of the Green Party. We need a mass party to make the big changes that we got to make. So I'm telling people, if you are concerned about these issues, you got to get into an organization that's working on them. And so you need to become an active member. You just can't, be a keyboard warrior on Facebook. You got to be organized and working with people and talking through what we got to do to solve these problems. So please find out your local contact for the Green Party and get involved.
Welcome to the annual national meeting in Salem, Massachusetts. Green Party family and friends, please donate to the Green Party. gp.org.
My name is Madeline Hoffman. I'm the Green Party's candidate for U.S. Senate in New Jersey in 2020. And I'm here today to encourage all of you around the country to become part of this Green Party movement that's taking off and that's extremely necessary during these very difficult and turbulent times politically. If you want to, it would be helpful to all of us as candidates and also helpful to the Green Party in general if you could make a donation today to help us along in dealing with issues like environmental damage and environmental destruction, climate chaos, climate change, endless wars, and the need for single-payer health care. If you want to make a donation today, you can go to the website, the Green Party's website, which is gp.org/donate. And that donation will be used, I can guarantee you, it'll be used by people to work on the ground to make the important changes, social changes that we need. Hi Facebook, I'm Sandy Prisblack from Cheektowaga, New York. Don't forget to vote green in 2019 and 2020. We're the party of people, planet, and peace, and we are not corporately sponsored, and we work for the people, not the corporations.
Hi, we're back with more Green Wave Telethon. I'm here with my host, Craig Seaman, and our next guest is Hillary Kane. Hillary Kane is a director of a nonprofit that supports campus community partnerships. Her first green campaign was working for Ralph Nader in the year 2000. She has served the party at all levels, including being co-chair of the CCC for a number of years, and she's the current treasurer of the Green Party of the United States. She's from the state of Pennsylvania. Welcome to the program, Hillary. Thank you for being here.
Hi, how are you doing tonight?
Great. It's so nice to see you. You know, each year the CCC members are elected by the GNC, and the committee gives direct financial awards to candidates. And you're here to tell us about some of those recent awards right now.
Yeah, so I have the pleasure of being both on our coordinated campaign committee, that's the CCC, and also I happen to serve as our party's treasurer. So I get the pleasure of both helping to decide which candidates get our financial support, and then I get to write the checks, which is actually a really nice part of the job, is being able to contact candidates and say, hey, guess what? We've awarded you some money. And so this year we have, I think, 7 candidates, if my counting is right here, that we've given some small awards to. And it's really a nice range of offices and geographies and types of candidates. So, and some of whom we've heard from tonight already. So we've got Monica James, who I think we're going to hear from later on tonight. She's running for city council in Muncie, Indiana. We've also given money to Craig Cayetano, who's running for the Hawthorne, New Jersey Town Council in Ward 3. Michael Cooper, who's running for city council in a small town in Indiana, Portage, Indiana. Danielle Swift, who we heard from earlier this evening with that really great video about her activism and work in St. Paul. She's running for city council there, and so she got some funding. Mike Cease, who's running for mayor of Tucson, Arizona, so representing the southwest corner of the state. And we felt that this race was a really important one for us to support, particularly also because of ballot access considerations in Arizona for looking forward to 2020. We have someone from my home state in Pennsylvania. I'm in Philly. She's on the total other side of the state in the greater Pittsburgh area, but Tara Yaney, who is running for Edgewood Borough Council, which is sort of a small community outside of Pittsburgh. And then rounding out the list is Joshua Bradley, who's running for city council in Raleigh, North Carolina. So we have folks from the Northeast, the central part of the state, central part of the country, the Southwest, and even the Southeast. And, you know, the amazing thing is that we can give money directly to these local candidates. But of course, we wish that we could give so much more. We're really only giving drops in the bucket as a national party, and it would be so nice if we could add zeros to all of the checks that I recently wrote and really step up the level of support. You know, candidates are using this money to buy lawn signs, to do direct mailers, to print election day literature, t-shirts for volunteers, all kinds of things that raise visibility and get the word out about their campaigns. So I hope that folks will donate to www.gp.org/give-now so that we can raise even more money for our candidates and really spread the Green Party message all across the country.
Thanks so much, Hillary. Congratulations to all the candidates who received the awards. And we'll be back with more from Hillary Kane later in the program. Right now, we're going to go to another clip, and we'll be back with more Green Wave Telethon 2019 right after this.
Hi, everyone. My name is Craig Cayetano. I'm one of the co-chairs for the Green Party of New Jersey. I'm also running for town council in Hawthorne, New Jersey for Ward 3. I wanted to reach out to you tonight to talk about the the necessity to run candidates up and down ballot. So I wanted to take my step from running on my environmental commission and green team and trying to get some other issues handled in town. There are some environmental issues that are very important to young people, us, that we need to address, even on a local level. So please consider checking us out online. I appreciate your support. Take care.
The reason I'm running with the endorsement of the Green Party of New Jersey is that Cory Booker, when he was mayor of Newark, has alienated a lot of people. He alienated them because of his pro-charter school initiative and anti-public school stance. He alienated them because a lead contamination problem with the water of Newark was not addressed, and it's still not addressed, but we need to hold him, we in New Jersey need to hold him accountable for those actions in the city of Newark. He also takes big money from the pharmaceutical industry, We haven't heard him talk about improved Medicare for all or single payer. Maybe he wants to modify the Affordable Care Act, but that's not enough for the residents of New Jersey or anywhere else in the country for that matter. We need single payer, improved Medicare for all. He also is explicitly against BDS, boycott, divest, and sanction. He said he will never support it. And so if he's talking about justice for all, he's talking about justice for all, excluding Palestinians. And then he also has voted for all of the increases in the military budget. So the last one is now at $733 to $750 billion with a B. And we haven't heard him speak out against those expenditures. And as a long-time peace activist, an environmental activist, I take offense to that. We're in a time period where we need to end the endless wars, end U.S. imperialism, and in so doing, we will also take strong action towards combating climate change and climate chaos, because the military and its wars are one of the main contributors to climate change. So I'm excited to get an early start in campaigning against Senator Cory Booker and whoever the Republican challenger may be. And I hope you would visit my Facebook page, which is Hoffman for Senate 2020. Web page is still under construction. And also I'm on Twitter. You can find me under Hoffman for Senate 2019. I believe is that the handle there for Twitter. But thank you very much, and I look forward to campaigning for until November of 2020. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Dario Hunter. I'm a member of the Youngstown Board of Education in Youngstown, Ohio, and I'm also a proud Green. And I'm asking you to vote Green because the Green Party is the party of justice. Justice for the earth and all its people. We're the only party that has a platform that addresses all the solutions everyday Americans are facing. And we're the only party that's not bought out by the millionaires and the billionaires. So choose a real option. Choose the Green Party in the next election.
Hi everyone, my name is Craig Cayetano. I'm one of the co-chairs for the Green Party of New Jersey. Just want to let you know we are growing. We do need your support, so please check us out on gp.org/volunteer.
Hi, I'm Aaron Fox, and we're back with more Green Wave Telethon. Please like and share the video. Make sure all your friends on social media find out how they can support Green candidates from all across the country. I'm glad to be back here with my co-host Craig Seaman and our next guest, Kat Bruner James. Kat is an amazing candidate. She is a fellow member of the Green Party of Michigan, and she is running for city council in the city of Ferndale, Michigan, where she helped institute ranked choice voting. Kat, it was just your birthday. Happy birthday. And thank you for being with us here on the program tonight.
Thank you, Aaron.
Kat, you're an Oakland County Green. There's actually a lot of interest in the Green Party in Oakland County. We've got another Green that's elected to the library board there in Ferndale. It's one of the more active areas in Michigan for progressive politics. Sure. Please, give us a little bit of an idea about what it's like to live in Ferndale and what makes that city so vibrant and diverse.
Sure. So I moved here 17 years ago, and one of the things that made me want to stay in this community and really get invested was back then we actually had a place called the Greenhouse. It was in an anchor sort of facility and right in downtown Ferndale where a lot of community organizing took place. That's where Ferndale for Instant Runoff voting began. I worked on some school board campaigns within a year or two of moving here. So there's really a great kind of culture of progressive politics and a lot of activism that's really easy to get involved in.
Kat, you've been a Green for some time now. What is it that inspired you to join the Green Party?
Oh gosh, like one of the previous speakers said, it was for me. It was going back to Ralph Nader. I was coming up in the late '90s, early 2000s. That was sort of when my political awareness was developing and coalescing, and the green pillars really appealed to me. Ralph Nader was an excellent spokesperson. His background in consumer protection and as a legal advocate on behalf of consumers really gave him the ability to really send that message to voters that people are more important than products and profits. And I found that incredibly appealing. I was able to parlay that into election reform after the 2000 election, which really took the wind out of our sails in a lot of ways, really divided the left in a lot of ways, and that's why I got involved in the movement for ranked choice voting.
That's fantastic, and you're reading my mind, because my next question to you is, as a longtime local activist, how is it that you were able to help bring ranked choice voting to the city of Ferndale, and why did you feel that it was important to get involved with that campaign?
Sure. Well, the most important thing that I want to make clear is I certainly didn't do that on my own. There were other activists in the community who were much more knowledgeable about, how to move this forward. And I got involved and helped with really volunteer coordination. And I was the treasurer for that organization. For me, the reason that was so important was because the way that our two-party majority system is set up is it really divides people who could otherwise work together. One of the previous speakers talked about sort of, building coalitions and building bridges, and the plurality winner-take-all system really hinders those cooperative, collaborative relationships. And we had a handful of activists here in the community who were knowledgeable about ranked choice voting and how to amend our city charter to allow for it. And it just seemed like the right thing to do so that allies could work together and not feel like they were working against each other.
Yeah. And how have folks in the city of Ferndale responded to ranked choice voting? What do the voters think now that you've had it in the city for a period of time?
Well, actually, we haven't been able to implement it because of barriers on the state level. I'll give you just a little bit of background that when we passed the ballot initiative back in 2004, it passed with 70% majority in 2004. A presidential election, high voter turnout, 70% of our residents voted in favor. We had a lot of resistance on the county level and on the state level. When we were getting new voting machines, we were trying very hard to advocate for getting machines that were, back then we called it IRV, instant runoff voting, that were compatible. And the state and the county really blocked us from doing so. There's another community in the neighboring county, the city of East Point, that's implementing instant runoff voting this year as the result of a judicial consent decree in federal court. An agreement between the federal government and the city of East Point to implement instant runoff voting that's really breaking through all of those barriers so that we will be able to implement it in our next election. So we're actually going to need a lot of support in sort of reinitiating our public education campaign. Luckily, we have a city clerk who's completely on board, completely supportive, a lot of city leadership that's supportive. But we're going to have to remind the voters about this and really have a public education campaign.
Kat, could you offer Greens in other areas a little bit of advice about how they can help inform the public about ranked choice voting and try to get it implemented in their community?
Sure. In Michigan, there's a statewide coalition that has been built called Rank My Vote, MI for Michigan. On the national level, U.S. Representative Jamie Raskin just introduced a bill in the U.S. Congress called the Ranked Choice Voting Act. He just introduced it, I believe it was last week. I was lucky enough to have coffee this morning with the U.S. Representative Rashida Tlaib and brought it to her attention. So one of the things that we can do is share information about that bill, talk to our Congresspeople about it, and help raise awareness. There's also another organization on the national level called Fair Vote, fairvote.org. They are really the leaders on this issue. They have an incredible wealth of information on their website that I actually should have mentioned that first as being the primary place for information about ranked choice voting.
Fantastic. Kat, let's talk a little bit about your campaign.
Sure.
Why is it that you feel compelled to run for office, and what do you most hope to achieve with your campaign?
The reason I'm compelled to run for office is cheesy but authentic. I've lived in this community for 17 years. This is my home forever. And there are city leaders who have put in hours upon hours of their personal lives to make this community the vibrant place that it is. And I want to sort of push that forward and be of service to my community to keep that momentum going.
And you've been out in the community, canvassing, talking with voters.
Oh, yeah.
What are some of the issues that Ferndale residents are talking about right now?
I think like everywhere in the country, there's an affordable housing crisis that has been growing over the last 20 years. It didn't pop up overnight. It was definitely an issue 17 years when I moved here. I was just telling a resident earlier today that I was only able to afford to live here 17 years ago because I was in a communal living situation and was for many years. So affordable housing is an important issue. And of course, the global climate crisis is an issue everywhere. I was talking with another candidate earlier this evening who's running for mayor about, the fact that the climate crisis means that our city needs to be carbon neutral. I don't know exactly when that might be or exactly how that gets implemented. But it's got to be at the top of our agenda, and we need to be talking about it and brainstorming and being creative and collaborative and making it a priority, not just in my community, but in all communities.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a very important issue. Kat, you have a lot of support out there in the community.
I do.
Tons of endorsements on your website. Yeah. Yard signs popping up all over. Every time I log on to Facebook, I see more Kat yard signs going up, and it's so exciting. To what do you attribute your success thus far at connecting with the people of Ferndale?
I think it's the hard work that I've put in over the last 17 years. I mean, this campaign didn't begin for me, in May or June, whenever I made my announcement. It really began the moment I decided that this was my forever home. I've been working for the community, working for residents, building relationships, and being mentored by city leadership over these years. So, now I've just gone door to door to meet even more people, and I'm humbled by the reception. It's been overwhelmingly supportive.
It's fantastic, and you deserve every bit of that support.
Thank you.
Kat, in the Green Party, of course, feminism is a key value. As the co-chair of the CCC, I would really love to see more women step forward and run for office as Greens. Yeah. I think it's time for the women to rule. Kat, what words of encouragement do you have to fellow women who are thinking of running for office?
Gosh, that's a really great question. I appreciate that a lot because, again, chatting with Rashida Tlaib this morning really reminded me that women on all levels of leadership suffer from imposter syndrome and self-doubt and I think that we need to really just be brave and be our authentic selves, and support each other as much as we can. Even if we disagree with one another politically, I think on a personal level we can, raise up the role of women and support. There are all kinds of women across the country who feel like they can't do this because they have small children at home. I have a 2.5-year-old. Reach out to the community, and it's remarkable the support that you will find from family members, from other women, from community members. I think that we need to not let our fears overshadow our strengths. I think we need to not underestimate our strengths.
That's fantastic, Kat. Kat, I'd like to thank you for being on the program tonight. How can voters in Ferndale, Michigan find out more about your great campaign?
Sure. I think I'm most proud of my social media presence on both Facebook and Instagram. That's where you get a lot of updates from me. You can also find my Facebook feed right on katbrunerjames.com, KatBrunerJames.com.
Fantastic. Well, Kat, thank you again so much for being here, and good luck with your campaign. I'm sure you're going to enjoy much success and a win in November. We'll be right back with more Green Wave Telethon in just a few moments. I want to remind you to please go to www.gp.org/give now and make a donation today to support green campaigns all across the country. I'm Aaron Fox, and we'll be back in just a few moments.
Hi, my name is Josh Bradley. I'm a candidate for City Council in District A. I'm a socialist. I'm here to work for and represent the workers of the City of Raleigh in District A. We are in a situation where the council tends to be made up of people of means, and we don't really have anyone on the council that is a worker and represents the working people. Growth isn't about building more houses. It's not about luxury condos downtown. It's not about tearing down existing neighborhoods and filling them with McMansions. When we talk about growth, we need to talk about housing that's affordable. We need to talk about jobs that pay well enough for people to work. It is very important in this day and age that we have civilian oversight of the police department in the city of Raleigh and all throughout the United States. There have been many instances and many people that we have seen on television being killed by police. The issue of transit in Raleigh is something that definitely needs improvement. We have a bus system. Unfortunately, the bus system that we have is tied to the traffic situation. Environmentally, this isn't sustainable. Another issue that is arising in the city of Raleigh has to do with reproductive health. I think there is stuff that we can do to help people have access to reproductive health. We could zone buffer zones around reproductive health clinics to keep all the protesters that tend to congregate around and make people feel unsafe when they go to reproductive health clinics. The General Assembly, not in the recent history, passed HB 2, which was a discrimination bill that was just a general terrible bill. It was bigotry and followed by limits to workers' rights, all pushed together. They figured that they could count on the bigotry and homophobia of the citizens of North Carolina to push through stuff that also is bad on labor. Income inequality is worse than it's ever been. I mean, we're past Depression era levels. Ideally, what you would do is you would work on a trickle-up thing, because we all know that the corporations are going to get the money eventually. We might as well start at the bottom and have it trickle up through the people to where the people benefit. If you're going to, that's still kind of capitalist theory. I think that capitalist theory is a dead end, and I think it's starting to fall apart as we see it. As we see it now. It's going to get to the point where it's not sustainable.
Hi, folks. We're back with more Green Wave Telethon 2019. I'm Aaron Fox. I'm here with my co-host Craig Seaman. And coming up next, we've got a fantastic candidate. He is the co-chair of the Green Party of New Jersey, and he's running for office in Hawthorne City Council in Ward 3. Please welcome to the program Mr. Craig Cayetano. Craig, it's great to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
Craig, I know, you're co-chair, you're candidate. It takes so much effort to do both. Thank you so much for all your amazing work. Tell us a little bit about why you decided to run for city council and what it is that you plan to do that will be different from other folks who are running against you right now.
So I think after getting involved with the party and working my way through everything the past few years, I wanted to try to focus a little bit local, so I decided to join my town's green team. And our environmental commission and green team are very fluid. You're allowed to go to both meetings. I've heard some stories of how other towns, other cities run their meetings a little bit more strict, but we're very open and wanted to hear from ideas from everybody. So we were making some progress there. I decided to step up and run for co-chair this year, thanks to Bruce Dixon. I was in communication with him a few times, regretfully before his untimely passing, and I just knew that I had to step up, and part of it was to step up for co-chair, and the other part of it was, well, if there's certain things I can't get through on the green team, the only way it's going to happen is if I decide to step up and run for town council. So here we are. I decided to file in beginning of June, and everything's been going great since.
That's fantastic. You are so involved in your community. Okay, you're everywhere at community events. Constantly, I'm seeing posts. I'm like, geez, Craig is just all over the place. You're involved in politics in a very intimate way, and you in a very participatory way. And what is it that we can do to encourage more people to get involved and do more than just vote or do more than just donate, but to actually really get involved in the process and really get involved in, town halls where we're talking about policy and, get involved with talking with their public officials, about what it is that they're concerned with in their community. What is it, Craig, that we can do to foster that feeling of participation amongst voters?
I think that there's an equal distaste towards the system right now, and that's why we have the ability to amplify, not only just participate and listen, but take the next step. So yeah, getting involved obviously with a lot of different coalitions and committees has been great, but going door to door, talking to people, hearing what their concerns are, really the fuel. And I think that's what might be scary to some people, that they do have to get engaged and get involved. Social media has been great, obviously. We have this as a great window. The party's been great. Everybody's been sharing stuff, and we're so appreciative of it. But getting out there, talking to people, really finding out and how to connect is really how we're going to grow, personally.
Craig, you're a green, and you're really out there loud and proud about it. And how's the response been from voters? What do they think about a green candidate running for their city council?
So in this town, it's been a little kind of laid back, and I don't know how you would say if it's sleepy or they just haven't been awoken to the change that can happen. Obviously, the other party hasn't made any progress. So we're dealing with a 20-plus year incumbent Republican, predominantly Republican council and mayor. So we would think that some sort of ideas, plans would come from the other party, but it hasn't. So this has just been a whirlwind and just so amazing to engage and wake people up. And they're starting to wonder what's going on. How's the campaign going for the other people? And I'm like, I can't talk to about everybody else. I can just talk to you on what I want to offer. And that's basically been from engaging at all these events, going door to door, even like little things like taking the ballot and literally pasting green all over the ballot line and showing when I go door to door, this is where we are. This is the row. It's row C for Craig. You can't miss that. So just like little things like that, I make it fun. Politics is not fun. It's scary. It's ferocious and fierce, and I'm trying to make it fun, and I'm connecting with people that way, and I think that's the best way to do it.
You're doing a great job of it, Craig. You know, Craig, I'd like to talk to you about an issue I know is really important to you, and that's the environment. You know, pollution for a long time has been a problem in New Jersey. You participate in a lot of environmental activism in your community, and I'd like you to talk a little bit about that and why it's so important for politicians to be involved in environmental policy and making changes to our existing policy.
So the Green Party has been engaged in a lot of these issues in New Jersey. New Jersey, not only right now, it's elevated the Newark situation with the lead in the water, but we've got the Ramapo, which are in my county, still dealing with the Ford plant and all the pollution from that and trying to get that still handled. And you have in Pompton Lakes, you have from DuPont, from all the pollution there. Passaic River runs through our town, and they're still dealing with cleanups there. So I'm hoping that this race lets people know that there is a vehicle, there's a reason why you should run and be involved. And the only way that you're going to get this change, get these sites remediated, get the cleanup done, is by taking a different approach. Because obviously, as we see, nothing's getting accomplished in the two main parties. We need to have an alternative. We need to know that this is the party that's going to support you for these causes and try to get some change done.
Thank you so much for being that alternative. Craig, you're making connection with local business leaders. I'd like to talk about that for a second. And maybe you could elaborate a little bit about how Green Party candidates can work with existing businesses in their local community to promote community-based economics.
Bingo, that's actually one of the key planks. So I'm trying to find ways to engage with people on local levels. So literally trying to find identity. And our towns, a lot of towns I've noticed, especially in New Jersey, you'll have people just come in, go home, get in their car, drive to a mall, go to dinner somewhere else. We're trying to find a way to foster that connection here in town. So going out, talking to small business owners, trying to find out, listen to what their ideas are. I think that by taking a little bit more of a green approach to business, you can actually make it a driver to the business district. So simple things is, obviously people are going to start talking about, electric vehicle charging stations, working towards more of a sustainable model, changing out from styrofoam containers, plastic bag bans, things like that. Just adopting more of a green approach. I mean, we've got some great stores, great businesses that have sponsored our events and have been open to the ideas, and we just love to engage with everybody.
It's fantastic. And being out there and being active in the community has given you a lot of visibility. Tell us about some things that you've been doing out there in the community to earn the people's votes and to build political capital, through that visibility.
So part of it is obviously being engaged with the schools, and this town's school system has been going through a renaissance the last 4 or 5 years. Being tapped on the shoulder and say, hey, you know what, you got to be involved with the Board of Education. And you know what? I thought the council already was involved, and apparently they're not. They might have a liaison that checks in here and there, but nobody's really involved. So there was a tour, and there was a big referendum that just actually was passed only a couple weeks ago. And I was behind this from the beginning because the schools need to be taken care of. And this is like a serious $24 million referendum to repair roofs, fix furnaces, boilers, remove asbestos, obviously bring the classrooms into the 21st century. And you need to have that connection to get the town involved. And everybody's been happy. You can't campaign as a candidate in these town community groups, but obviously as myself and being out there in front of everything, it's been building on its own. Everybody's obviously putting two and two together, and it's been great.
Absolutely. Fantastic. Craig, why won't you take corporate money? Why won't you take their money? Why does not taking corporate money make you a better choice to be a leader in politics?
New Jersey is a corrupt political machine. You have corruption in both major parties. We hear about it all the time in Camden and Norcross. We hear about it in Essex with DiVincenzo. We hear about the machine trying to hold the party line in other counties. And obviously, we're worried about our friends next door in Patterson, who constantly have candidates that are supposed to be either nonpartisan or, oh no, they're not party backed or developer backed, but there's money, follow the money. So that's why, as a Green, we're not taking any money. I signed on in solidarity to the No Fossil Fuel Pledge and obviously made my adjustments, crossed out the money, put the 0, no donations, no money from fossil fuel industry, no political action money. So obviously we're making the message heard. Obviously other groups are starting to take some of the great ideas that we've fostered first and implement them in their ways. So we just have to just be engaged, be involved, and just say, hey, look, we're here. This is what we offer.
Craig, that is fantastic. You've said that you want to hear from each person in your ward and make that personal connection. What's the response been from your potential future constituents? And what kind of things are you doing, to really reach people on an individual level?
When you go, you talk, and you find out what that matters to them. Then some of the concerns locally is there is some speeding issues right up my door. And trying to figure out how to take care of safety there. Bike paths, they need to put a better bike path system in town, and I've got a whole platform coming out on that, which I can hit the post button later tonight. But those are two major issues there. I have a vision for the future. There's a few issues in this town that I'll have a part of that platform address, but a lot of the local stuff is dealing with trash and pickup and recycling issues, mainly just talking to people and seeing how are you, and not even knowing who's running in the ward, not even knowing what their ward is. I mean, it's just simple things like you run into. And yeah, little stuff like having nice materials to share with a little bit of idea of what you are, who you are, is always a good, way to start the conversation.
Absolutely. Craig, as co-chair of the Green Party of New Jersey, you're really a key state. And I know that you've got some other great candidates in the works. Could you talk a little bit about some candidates from New Jersey that we should be watching besides yourself?
Definitely. We still are working to field a slate of candidates for 2020. We are trying to reach out to people. We would love to field some more congressional seats. We do have for Senate already endorsed Madeline Hoffman. Madeline Hoffman, I got to give her a shout out. Madeline has set aside vital time to help with this campaign. She's been my right hand here and helping us, get our message across. And I couldn't do this without her support. So I definitely want to shout out to Madeline, and we're going to get behind her, and she's going to have a phenomenal campaign. We're going to get out there early. We're going to make sure she has the right materials, the right website, and the presence. And obviously, the other stuff in New Jersey, we've got to work on a lot of things in New Jersey, but we're working to try to field some other candidates for Congress too.
Absolutely, absolutely. Madeline's a gem in the Green Party. We're so lucky to have her. She's done so much for this party over the years, and we really wish her well in her campaign for Senate in 2020. Craig, where can folks get more information about the campaign?
There's so many places to get information. And also, while we have a lot of friends checking in, I want to let them know we've got ranked choice voting on our block in New Jersey. There's two bills. This is 1801, which is for local races, municipal races, and also there's A5205 for congressional, gubernatorial, presidential. So we definitely need to push this in front of everybody. You can check us out at Cayetano4Council4.com. Obviously also on Facebook and Instagram, Cayetano4Council. Twitter, it's Green 4 Ward 3. And now we got our lawn signs in, so we're going to be hitting I'll be hitting out tonight, throwing these down, so can't wait to get this out there.
That looks great. Looks great. Well, Craig, I'd like to thank you so much for being here on the program with us. Much success to you in your campaign, and we all wish the best for you. Folks, you can give to great candidates like Craig by going now to www.gp.org/give now. and making a donation. And we urge you to like and share this video. And if you're not watching this video live, if you're watching it later on, please still like and share the video. Make sure that we spread this around and all the Greens get the word about great candidates to support in this year's election. And right now, we are going to go back to Hillary Kane. Of course, she's the treasurer of the Green Party of the United States. She's a graduate of the University of Pennsylvania. She has a bachelor's in urban studies, and she's a longstanding Green leader who's just worked tirelessly, for this party. And she's a good friend. Thanks for coming back, Hillary. Uh-oh. It looks like we might have lost Hillary, so we're just going to go ahead and Craig, could we go to another clip? All right, we'll be back with more Green Wave Telethon right after this.
In fact, it is our mutual dedication to the 10 key values that has led us to develop, through consensus, a platform which embodies our vision for a better future. Dr. Jill Stein advocated for this vision as the Green New Deal during her 2012 campaign, and when Bernie Sanders adopted many similar positions, we could all see how widely supported they were. Finally, we could know that we were not alone in our outrage and heartache. That these ideas could only gain attention if a Democrat uttered them is a testament to the gatekeeping function of the media. But in this year's perfect political storm, daylight is peeking through. On this 71st anniversary of the Hiroshima bombing, we ponder the direction of a nation that continues to justify and glorify militarism while it wages an endless war on terror that only creates more terrorists. Unlike the DNC, chants of no more war are welcome here. All right, but we're here to do more today than just chant. Hopefully they can hear us now. We are here to give the gift of a waiting political vehicle from an older generation of activists that understood change was not possible inside the major parties, to the youth and social movements of this age. Don't let the establishment swindle you out of the leverage you could gain by growing the Green Party now. Some voices will tell you to wait or to start over, but I say they seek to rob you of a political tool you have within your grasp. Instead, use it to indicate clearly that corporations are not people, money is not speech, and the time to realign our political priorities is at hand. Whether we come out of this election with greater ballot access and public campaign financing, or whether we paint the White House green in 2016, the Green Party of the U.S. will only come out of this election stronger. The degree of our success will be up to you. If we can get our message out to independents in this country, and a generation burdened by student debt comes together, if the working class and communities of color express solidarity with one another, we could build a winning coalition. I believe people can change their minds in an instant. With all of the money poured into political campaigns, the establishment parties can barely motivate a third of eligible voters to participate. We can give disenfranchised voters a reason to vote. We can give people of conscience a once-in-a-lifetime chance to stand for justice and human dignity. We have to acknowledge our hypocrisy in espousing liberty and justice for all when the foundations of our nation are native genocide and slavery, and when we now have the largest prison population in the world. Without acknowledging how far we are from our ideals, we can't begin to correct the situation and heal our social wounds. Our authoritarian culture legitimizes the use of force against marginalized people. And that is why we must declare that Black and brown lives matter, because we reject justifying misconduct and abuse of authority by dehumanizing victims. Our guiding priorities must become people, peace, and planet over profit. We have a choice now to follow the hollow political charade into oblivion, or to invest ourselves in a politics of courage. The convergence of crises we are facing make it urgent that we resolve our systemic problems while we retain the capacity to do so. As a mother motivated to deliver a livable future, I believe all further delay decreases our chances of surviving climate disruption. We need economic democracy that facilitates prudent choices in the public interest and that is participatory rather than predatory. Corporate interests are well represented, and so government must protect the public against rapacious exploitation, not remain its tool of enforcement. You begin to see the failure of our economic system when you notice fundamental disconnections: homelessness amid vacant and derelict housing, unemployment amid unmet social needs, hunger amid plenty. Needed trade is stifled for lack of an electronic fiat currency, while huge quantities of the money supply have hemorrhaged out of our economy and into offshore tax havens. Or another example, the short-sighted extraction and speculation that is environmentally or socially destructive, but because the cost is externalized, the activity still makes economic sense for the business actors. But I have faith in the younger generations. Having grown up with technology, they understand the need to reboot a complex system that has become corrupt. Having experienced inequality and the school-to-prison pipeline firsthand, they know how hard it is for people to scrape together a living from part-time jobs or even breathe in this society. Youth are now and will continue to suffer the brunt of our society's systemic failures. And while they have come of age in a historically bewildering time, I believe they are ready to take control of their future. Together, we will build a world that works for all of us. Economic participation should be a human right. Greens understand that it is less expensive to meet basic human needs than to criminalize poverty. We could create a shared prosperity, stimulating our economy with the prioritized transition to renewable energy and fulfilling unmet domestic needs with savings from our bloated military budget. We would have better security at home if fewer of our military resources were deployed around the world in the interest of imperialism. We would no longer squander our resources on death and destruction, but would instead undertake a peace offensive to de-escalate and heal our international relationships. With proven common sense programs such as single-payer health care and free higher education, Greens seek to build consensus across the political spectrum and find a new way forward based on our party's 4 pillars. We invite you to join us in this political evolution revolution as we overgrow the system. In fact...
And we're live. Hi.
Hi, we're back with more Green Wave Telethon. I'm here with my co-host and producer, Craig Seaman. who's doing a great job of putting everything together for us tonight. And we're also back here with Hillary Kane. She is the treasurer of the Green Party of the United States. She has a BA in Urban Studies from the University of Pennsylvania, and she is one of the hardest working people in the party. Thank you so much, Hillary, for coming back and joining us again tonight. Hillary, when we talk about donations to candidates, and particularly our local candidates, how important are these donations for Green Party candidates?
Well, they're extremely important. I think, in the Green Party, we obviously don't take corporate money, which is a theme you've been hearing all night long. And I think, Greens have a tendency to want to almost go to such an extreme that we think that money doesn't belong in politics at all, to the point where we have $0. And the reality is that you need some money in politics. We just don't want big money in politics. We don't want corporate money in politics. And so, it takes money to put out lawn signs, to, get organizers on the street who can go out day after day after day, to supplement the volunteers that people are marshaling, to make sure that there's literature to leave in people's doors, to produce ads, to pay for even Facebook ads, let alone, of course, television, radio, billboards, all of those kinds of things that other candidates use. And so these donations really go a long way, especially in these really small local races. You're talking about town councils of small communities, borough council, specific wards of small communities around the country. And so, we were reviewing applications where people said they only needed 800 votes to win. That's very doable with us. A small dollar campaign can actually make a difference there.
Absolutely, absolutely. And every dollar counts on these small campaigns. And, that's why it's so important that people make a donation and help support Green Party candidates. What's really cool is we have so many great ways to give, and one of those ways is that we have some really great sustainers that give sustaining donations to the party. And talk a little bit about how people can sign up to be a sustaining donor.
Sure. So certainly if you go to the donation page on the Green Party website, and so that's www.gp.org/donate, one of the links there is to sign up to be a monthly sustainer. And this is huge, for any organization, including the Green Party, because it's like giving us a salary. It's giving us a steady source of income rather than the ebbs and flows of the political cycle. And so, that steady salary helps us pay for all our basic fixed costs. We do have staff. And they need to get paid, and we have a unionized staff, so we've been adding benefits. There's ongoing costs for infrastructure like websites and technology and all kinds of basic things that make any organization run. And to be able to count on that helps us really plan and forecast and be able to know where we can go in the future without constantly scrambling to raise more money. So monthly sustainers are the lifeblood of the Green Party. We have about, I think, 750 people roughly on average who give to us every single month. We've got donations as low as $2 and $3 a month, up to over $100 a month. And, we're certainly looking for more people to be sustainers. And I think right now we just put out a thing that if you give more than $10 a month, you will get a coupon for our Green Party online store.
Oh, cool! That's really great. Thank you. Thank you to all of the sustainers of the Green Party. You really are keeping this party going. So thank you so much for everyone who's already signed up to be a sustainer and is supporting. And if you haven't yet, please go to gp.org/donate, and you can sign up there to be a sustainer. We've got some other cool ways that you can contribute. I hear that folks can donate their spare change to the Green Party.
Right. So we have this program called Caring Cents, and it basically allows you to do like a roundup with your debit card. So you can sign up, and then every time you use your debit card for a cup of coffee, or you run to the pharmacy, or whatever you're doing day to day, it will round up to the nearest dollar. So if your purchase is $3.44, it's going to suddenly be $4, and that extra 56 cents goes to the Green Party. And what's nice is you can set limits. so that, if you're just having to spend tons and tons and tons of money, you can still say, but only up to $10 a month or only up to $20 a month. So it's it's a completely different way. In some ways it's a little thoughtless and painless, but it's another way that we can get your contributions. And so I don't actually know the URL offhand. I should, for the Caring Sense donation page, but I will look that up while we speak. But it should also be on our donate page as well.
Cool, that's fantastic. Well, let's hear it. Let's hear your best pitch as to why folks should donate to Green candidates and why this is so important to help creating political and social change here in the United States.
Sure. So I think what I really want to talk about is what we need in order to get more people to run for office. And so, this is just the tip of the iceberg. We're really hoping to mobilize more candidates for 2020, which is obviously a bigger election year. And, even at the local level, there's going to be state houses up for grabs, state Senate seats, obviously U.S. Congress. When we have a really good, there's a ton of new things that we could be doing to support our candidates. So obviously just giving them more direct campaign support like we've been doing now. But, if we had, another $3,000 to $5,000, we could have a serious internship program where we either provide them some training and then deploy them to really amazing campaigns around the country. And it can be a partnership. The student gets a small stipend, the campaign gets a trained worker, and we're growing the next generation of Green Party leaders. If we had $2,000, we could be doing more campaign school trainings across the country. So we've been doing online trainings, which are fabulous, but nothing beats face-to-face. And so, we're talking a couple of plane tickets, a 2-night hotel stay in a budget hotel. It doesn't take a lot of money to put these things together, but it does take some, and we can bring our show on the road and literally go into communities, recruit people to run for office, and give them the basic tools that they need to get started. So those are the kinds of things not just really, we've got lots of know-how, we just need to get the message out. So it is the part of the Green Party that supports candidates.
Well, thank you so much for all the hard work, and I'm really happy to have worked with you here over the years. Thank you so much for everything that you do.
No problem. It's been a joy to work with you as well. So thank you for all of your hard work and for fabulous emceeing tonight.
Thanks so much for being here. Help Green Party candidates from all across the United States. We'll be right after this.
Are you guys all roused up?
Okay.
Bienvenidos a Houston, Texas. As a proud graduate of the University of Houston, I am very proud to welcome you to the Cougs House. I stand before you a proud Mexicana.
Oh, Monica? Yes. We're not seeing video.
A very proud
No.
Tejana.
There.
I am not an industry insider, nor am I a career politician. I am only an ordinary citizen. I am not and will not be bought by corporate money or PAC's money. I am basically all of you and everybody else out there watching us, and all of those who think they're not green. Because I am someone, just as you are, who will stand for the rights of private citizens. We'll stand for the 100%. Right now, in Texas especially, only a very small minority of people who are eligible to vote, and they only vote a certain way. If we could have everyone that is eligible to vote, this place would be green. You know, being involved in politics, at first I was thinking, are you crazy? It's very daunting because you can see how those people treat each other. But we're not politicians. We're just citizens who are sick and tired of what is going on.
So let's address the issue of a wasted vote. How many of you have heard that? You know what? In Texas, it's so red, a blue vote is a wasted vote. It is an illogical fallacy that needs to be turned upside down and erased. The wasted vote is wasted. A vote is wasted when you vote against your conscience. When you vote for the establishment, whether it is blue or red, they think you are with them. The only way that they will know that you do not agree with what they say and do is when you vote against them. As I have been campaigning for my railroad commissioner position, I've heard a lot of people in town homes, town meetings, and forums say, my vote doesn't count. You know what? That is the only thing an ordinary citizen can do. It is the most important thing an ordinary citizen can do to change the world. So I say to you, go back home, people. Go and vote in your local elections, because that is the biggest change you will do. So Greens, keep on doing what you're doing. Keep doing the good fight. And juntos vamos a poder ganar.
Hi, thanks for tuning in and sticking with us through the program. We're back with more Green Wave Telethon. I am Aaron Fox. I'm here with Craig Seaman. And our next guest, she's a former co-chair of the Indiana Green Party, and she's running for city council in Muncie, Indiana, District number 4. Her name is Monica James. Monica, thank you so much for being on the program tonight.
Thank you for having me tonight, Aaron. I really appreciate it.
Monica, the Green Party is growing in Indiana. You have more candidates than ever. What's getting Indiana Greens excited about running for office?
I believe that the Green Party is really excited about running for office. They're really excited about getting ballot access, making changes in what's happening in Indiana, and just getting people involved.
Yeah, it's amazing. You got Greens running in 6 different cities. And that's never happened before. Now, as someone who's been a leader in your state party, what advice do you have for Greens who want to help their party grow across the state?
You know, it's going to be the old traditional grassroots. You are really going to have to get out there and start talking to people, knocking on doors, going to the university, talking to people, trying to get involved. It's really going to be the traditional grassroots to get people involved and get them informed, because sometimes they're really not informed. They don't even know who the Green Party is.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's fantastic that you're one of the folks that are out there on the front lines that's spreading the good word about the political message of the Green Party. You know, you've been out there campaigning in the community. We've been hearing from great candidates all night about what folks are talking about all over the country. What's on the mind of voters in Muncie right now?
One of the things I keep hearing in Muncie, they're really concerned about transparency here. They're concerned about being heard and giving their voices a place on the platform here in the city of Muncie. And I can understand why. It's part of the reason why I ran.
Tell us a little bit, for folks who don't know, what's it like to live in your city? You know, what's the history and background of Muncie?
Muncie it's a fun city to live in. I can honestly say right now, Muncie is probably a fun place to live. It's very, very diverse. That's one of the things I like about Muncie. You have some strong candidates running. In our city, we have 4 Black women running for a political office right now. And that's just unheard of, I think, for the city of Muncie. The other thing in the city of Muncie, people are really getting involved. We have a lot of community service, good people that just get out there and we all join together and we reach together across party lines and we work to help our city become a better place.
That's fantastic, Monica. You know, Monica, you've been out there knocking doors, talking to voters. You know, what type of strategies are you putting out there to help solve the issues that Muncie voters care about?
Well, I really want to look into some of the things like, I think income inequality in our city is a huge growing problem. And so I want to know, instead of we building more homes or apartment complexes for people with money, what can we do for the people without money? We know that at a federal level, they are cutting housing grants. So people are becoming more and more homeless. I want to end that. I don't think that should be a problem. I don't think people should worry about where they're going to lay their heads at night or whether or not their children have food to eat. So that's one of the strategies I'm working on. Another one is actually infrastructure. I discovered that I am one of the houses that's part to help not just myself, but other members in District 4 and across the city that might be experiencing the tile problem underneath our home. But another thing I'm trying to get out, and you might know about it, is that I hosted the Black Caucus platform here just a few weeks ago, and it's really important to me to get out the message about reparations, and that's something that our community need to get involved in.
Absolutely. Reparations is a huge issue for the Green Party, and we're the only political party that supports reparations as a part of our political platform. It's a very important issue, you know, to African American voters, and it's something that we really need to bring front and center and help, you know, help undo the damage that's been done, and you know, and help repair the wrongs that have happened. Monica, election integrity is another hot button issue across the United States right now. Tell me a little bit about your experience in dealing with voting rights for Muncie residents.
First of all, we have a huge gerrymandering problem. I'm in a predominantly Republican area, but I think the area is really changing. It's actually backfiring with the gerrymandering they did. They drew this map. It's one of the largest districts in the city of Muncie, and we're split up into like 5 or 6 different sections, and they're just all across the city. Like you can be in one area knocking on doors, and the street right next to you isn't even considered part of that street, part of my district. So we have a gerrymandering problem. We have a ballot access problem. And also, our state is probably known for purging, I think, close to 200,000 people off the ballot from voting. So I think these are all issues that our city can get involved and find ways to help change this, at least locally. We may not be able to do it statewide. We may not be able to do it federally, but we can do something locally to help our citizens get access to voting and getting access to ID. Our driver's license bureau is all the way on the other end of town with no transportation to it. We don't even have a city bus that goes out there. So they rely on someone else to get them out there and get IDs just so that they can vote.
Okay. You know, Monica, you are also really focused on the environment. You've been working really hard to protect the ecology of your local community. You know, hundreds of Muncie children were affected by, improper chemical exposure, and the community really came out in response to that, and you were helping lead the charge on this issue. Would you like to talk a little bit about that?
Well, one of the issues we had was the lead poisoning of our children. And the hospital, we still haven't figured out what's exactly going to be done and what damage has been done to these children. But it's a huge concern for our entire community. The other problem we had with environmental issues, we have a big pig farm that was allowed by our city council and county council to pass, which also is a contamination to our soil and in our air environment. We have plastic bags which are used for recycling, and we know that plastic bags wind up in the landfill, which really isn't recycling if it's doing more harm to the community and the environment. And then lastly, we had WSP that wanted to build here, that our entire city council voted and approved. And WSP is a corporation that have mercury in it. And the levels of mercury was so high that it was just unheard of. WSP didn't have another plant with the levels of mercury as high as they wanted to build in the city of Muncie. And I mean, people here in this city came out full force. They came out, I think, somewhere around 1,200 to 1,500 to our little small city hall and said, not on our watch. It's not going to happen today.
It's fantastic, and it's really exciting, and these are the issues that happen in our community. We can really rally people around these issues, and when they find out that these are the issues that the Green Party's focused on taking action on, I think that people get really excited, because these are very important issues when you talk about the environmental concerns in our community, and we should all be concerned about that. And, great candidates like you, Monica, are out there, and you're leading the way, and you're putting environmental issues front and center, and that's fantastic. I'd like to talk with you now about another Green Party pillar, and that's social justice. It's a pillar of our philosophy. We still have a lot of work to do on social justice issues here in the United States, particularly in regard to racial disparity, institutional racism, disproportionate incarceration, of African Americans, and a host of other issues that are related to this topic. How do we move forward on these important concerns and really, come to the reparations that we need? And it's, and when I say that, it's not just about providing someone with a financial contribution, which is very important, but it's also just about repairing the relations between the races. Monica, what is it that we can do to bring this issue forward and to make things better?
I think it's part of the Green Party platform, actually, to tell you the truth. The Green Party platform believes that all of us really are equal. They don't say that Black lives don't matter or all lives matter. The Green Party believes that all lives matter and that Black lives matter. And until Black lives are acknowledged and treated fairly like the rest of the country, we cannot say that Black lives don't matter anymore. And so the Green Party fully understands that. And one of the things we can do is we have to look at healthcare. Healthcare is a crisis, a huge crisis in the Black community. You have to look at repairing the relationship between law enforcement and Black. Indianapolis prosecutor just passed in the city of Indianapolis that they will not prosecute anybody with 1 ounce or less of marijuana. But the police said, yes, we will. We will continue to do our job, and we will arrest you. And you may still serve 2 and 3 days in jail and lose your job, even though the prosecutor will not prosecute you. And so these are issues that the Black community are faced with. We all know that marijuana has been a leading source in prosecuting Blacks. It has been a leading source in police being able to shoot us because they are always afraid. Even when they're not telling the truth, that becomes their wording to the public. We are afraid. And when you are saying that you're afraid, it gives you the right to shoot people. It gives you the right to lock people up falsely and accuse them of something they're really not doing. And when you're unarmed and you murder, there should be a responsibility to our government to hold them accountable.
Absolutely.
We have a housing crisis. Yeah, we have a huge housing crisis that's affecting the Black community at a much alarming rate than other communities. So there's a lot of things that our government can and should look at. And I'm talking about local government as well as state and federal government.
And when we talk about economic issues, you have been a really strong proponent of a key value of the Green Party, community-based economics. You are on the board of directors of the Muncie Time Bank. And how is it that we can use these types of alternative economics in our communities and implement them locally right now in order to be able to help people out of poverty?
Muncie Time Bank is actually throughout the entire United States. Now, every state has one, but every city may not have one. And I think that's going to be really important because Muncie Time Bank is your pay it forward program. And in our time bank, we do things to help our community. We help ourselves. We really work hard to help one another. One of the things I do in the community through Muncie Time Bank, which I really don't share publicly, is because I'm entering in people's homes, is that I clean people's homes. So I don't do what some people do. If I'm walking a dog, we can take a picture of that. If I'm cooking food for you, we can take a picture of that. But I am your person who write letters to people in nursing home. I am your person that sit with our elderly and hold their hands, or I take phone calls in the middle of the night because you're suffering because you have cancer, or your loved one have cancer or a disability you don't know how to deal with, or a senior citizen can't clean and they have a huge event coming up with their family. I will go clean that house for them. And so these are things that are really important to the community. We have people that need transportation. I'm disabled, so I rely on people for transportation to get me from point A to point B when my husband isn't available.
That's fantastic, Monica. Monica, you are an inspiring candidate, and I know that you have been working so hard in your campaign. Thank you for being out there on the front lines and getting it done and bringing the message of the Green Party to voters in Muncie. Monica, do you have any parting words for us?
Yes, I would like to say that you can reach me at P.O. Box 1492, like Columbus sailed the ocean blue. You can reach me at 317-961-2387. That is the phone number for my contact. You can reach me at ECI Greens on Twitter, or you can reach my email at monicajames408@yahoo.com. And I'm also on Facebook. So I really appreciate you, Aaron, and thank you for having me on tonight.
Thanks so much for being here. You've been great, Monica. Thanks for everything you do.
All right. Thanks a lot. Good night.
Folks, I'd like to remind you to please share this video with your friends and your family. And our Green candidates need your support today. Please go to www.gp.org/give now, make a kind donation, and help support Green Party values and Green Party candidates. I'd like to wrap things up for the Green Wave Telethon 2019, by thanking our list of amazing guests. We've had some wonderful candidates on here. Thanks to Trarin Cruz and Hillary Kane from the steering committee for being here with us tonight. We hope that people will not just support the Green Party and the CCC fund, but donate to these candidates individually. If you saw someone you like, go find them on Facebook, go find their website, find out how you can contribute directly to them. I'd like to thank the CCC, that's Holly, Hillary, Logan, Barbara, Robert, Jason, and AJ, and all of the Green Party of the United States Media Committee. Thanks to Ann Link and Lou Novak for doing video work on the program, and for our presidential candidates, Dario Hunter and Howie Hawkins, for appearing tonight. We'd like to thank our webmaster, David Doonan, and the members of the steering committee of the Green Party of the United States for all of their support. And most of all, I would really like to thank my co-host, Craig Seaman, for putting on a wonderful broadcast tonight. Thank you so much, Craig. You work so hard for this party. We all appreciate you so much and all the work that you do. And I'll let you get in the last word.
Thank you, Aaron. It's interesting being back here and doing a lot of the technical stuff, and there's a lot, and we're battling Skype and battling ISPs, but such is the nature of live streaming. Kat Brunner James was talking about RCV, ranked choice voting, and I would like to finish up with our own battle in New York City with that. We also had Charter Commission hearings this year, and the Charter Commission brought up ranked choice voting, and the Green Party had a good turnout, and we had certainly at least 2 of the 15 commissioners who were very supportive of our position. Now, there was generally support for ranked choice voting, but New York City had an unusual approach towards this, in that there was one group which only wanted it in primaries, and of course New York being a predominantly one-party town, and I should say occasionally the Greens are number 2 ahead of the Republicans in some races, that they wanted the ranked choice voting in only primaries, which of course meant only the Democratic primary, which of course shut out Greens, even Republicans, unaffiliated voters. So we turned out there were 5 county hearings, county charter commissioner hearings, and despite our very intense lobbying and open support from at least 2 commissioners, the final vote, with one person missing, we lost that vote 6-8. So on the ballot this November as a charter commission revision vote for the public, it will only be a yes or no vote on ranked choice voting in the Democratic primary or in primaries, but generally it would be the Democratic primary. Interesting to point out is the people who were in favor of only primaries was Common Cause. Common Cause only had 1 or 2 speakers for the entire Charter Commission hearings, whereas we probably had 20, and we had other support from the community. And despite our turnout, and despite the fact that they only had 1 person, their connections, obviously to the Democratic Party, resulted in a vote that will only give ranked choice voting to those voting in primaries, predominantly the Democratic primary. So we were put in an unusual position where, of course, we support ranked choice voting, but our position is we want to support it, but it will have no effect on the general elections. I guess the fantasy is that we run in an aggressive 3-way race with us and Republicans and possibly Libertarians, and force the winner to win with under 50% of the vote, so we can wag our fingers and say, "I told you so." The odd thing is, for the voters, people will they're not going to see ranked choice voting, and they're going to, one hope is after an election cycle, which will bring ranked choice voting for the general elections. Usual circumstance, parties, the smaller parties, so they I'll say good night to everybody. Please continue to donate, even though this. With that, did a yeoman's. Have a good night.